Okay, so welcome to the Sattva Bhakti Yoga morning program. It's February 2nd, 2025, and I'm glad to be with Amanda and Sylvain. Today is actually, it's the appearance day. We celebrate the appearance day of Saraswati Devi. Saraswati is the goddess of learning. And also it's the appearance day of Lakshmi Priya, which is a great female personality who lived about 500 years ago and very inspiring in her devotion to Krishna, actually to Lord Chaitanya. So in honor of them, I felt inspired to speak today, to share. And a lot of what I share is from my recent seminar experience. So it's sweet that you two are there from my seminar. And we're going to start by reading from Bhagavad Gita. And I have it I can share it on the screen. So we're reading from chapter 10, text 34. And Bhagavad Gita, it's actually called the Song of God. And there's a lot of wisdom packed into a conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. And at this point in the Bhagavad Gita, actually it's a big, just to give some context, there's a huge battle about to take place, and Arjuna, he's the warrior, the main warrior, the great hero, and he's meant to fight to free the country or the planet, the whole planet actually, from a tyrant, and he's meant to fight. That's his purpose. His purpose is to fight because he's a warrior, and just before the battle starts, he wants to see who he's going to fight with, and he can see, there's people he knows, there's even teachers and friends, and he doesn't want to fight. And he says he's on a chariot, and the chariot driver is Krishna, his friend, and he says, Krishna, I don't want to fight. I don't see any meaning, any good coming from me fighting this battle. And then a conversation starts between Krishna and Arjuna, where Krishna gives a lot of information about the material world and the spirit soul and what is purpose, and so Krishna asks many questions, and where we're reading from, chapter 10, is when Arjuna wants to understand, okay, so if you are everywhere, and if your energy is everywhere, then how can I perceive you? How can I see the divine? How can I see you, Krishna, in everything? And then Krishna gives many examples of how he can be perceived in this world. So this is where we're at in Bhagavad Gita, and we're reading chapter 10, text 34. And what we do is we'll read the Sanskrit line for line, and I will read it, and then maybe Amanda, Rosa, or Sylvan, one of you would like to repeat. If not, then that's fine. Mrityu sarva haraschaham. Mrityu sarva haraschaham. Utbhavascha bhavishyatam. Utbhavascha bhavishyatam. Kirti shrirvakcha narinam. Kirti shrirvakcha narinam. Smritir medadritikshama. Smritir medadritikshama. Mrityu sarva haraschaham, utbhavascha bhavishyatam, kirti shrivakcha narinam, smritir medadritikshama. Mrityu sarva haraschaham, utbhavascha bhavishyatam, kirti shrivakcha narinam, smritir medadritikshama. And the translation, We can read the translation together. So Krishna says, I am all devouring death, and I am the generating principles of all that is yet to be. Among women, I am fame, fortune, fine speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, and patience. So I chose this verse because of, the title or the topic of today is the feminine divine or the divine feminine. And here Krishna describes feminine qualities like fame, fortune, fine speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, and patience. So what I will do is I will read the purport. Every verse has a purport, an elaboration by Srila Prabhupada, and I'm going to read that to you. As soon as a man is born, he dies at every moment. Thus death is devouring every living entity at every moment. But the last stroke is called death itself. That death is Krishna. All species of life undergo 6 basic changes. They are born, they grow, they remain for some time, they reproduce, they dwindle, and finally vanish. Of these changes, the first is deliverance from the womb, and that is Krishna. The first generation is the beginning of all future activities. The 6 opulences listed here are considered to be feminine. If a woman possesses all of them or some of them, she becomes glorious. Sanskrit is a perfect language and is therefore very glorious. After studying, if one can remember the subject matter, he is gifted with good memory, or smriti. One need not read many books on different subject matters. The ability to remember a few and quote them when necessary is also another opulence. So before I start my sharing, I will recite some mantras which are here to support me to connect with the essence of what is given to us through these sacred books. It's a prayer that what I say may be aligned with the message that is coming to us, and that whatever I say is beneficial for everyone here and bringing us closer to truth. Om Agyanati Mirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Jakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sakana Raghunatan Tam Sachivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namustate Tapta Kanjana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evaja Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prestaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine, Namaste Sarasvate Deve, Gauravani Bracharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi, Paschatya Desha Tarine. Okay, so actually Sarasvati, the goddess Sarasvati, she's the eternal consort, wife, companion of Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma, he's the creator of the universe. He's the guy who got all the pieces, the Lego stones, to put together the universe which we are living in. And his wife is Saraswati. She's the goddess of learning. And actually, in India, still, before they, like when someone is studying, learning, they recite prayers to Saraswati. And my Ayurvedic doctor, who is from India, he recommended to me, like, if you want to increase your memory, you should recite the Saraswati prayer. It's like glue. So whatever you learn, like, is glued, gets stuck to your brain. And I was contemplating on that a lot, because a lot of what I learned at school was not really worth sticking to my brain. a lot of things. And yeah, I was trained as a primary school teacher, and I spent many years at the public school, and the last years mainly teaching kids who were either by choice or by circumstances didn't continue their education at the public school. And so I have a lot of experience of education, and education of children is something very dear to my heart. And yeah, so much nonsense is taught at the school. And it's 2 weeks ago since we finished our advanced seminar. And yeah, it's 2 weeks, Sunday. And after the advanced seminar, we had the Monday, the Roots program, the philosophical Roots program. And as I was walking from the place I was staying to the seminar room, I saw school kids, and they looked very depressed. And I was in this sensitive place after the seminar, and I could feel their suffering, and I felt pain for them. They are forcing themselves to go to school to learn what? To learn what? It doesn't seem to be inspiring for them. They didn't look like they were, happy to go to school. So I was walking to the seminar room. Hare Krishna, Anasuya, welcome.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hey, Rosa. Yeah, so I was walking to the seminar room, and then suddenly I realized, wow, I am also going to school right now. I'm going to get a class. I'm going to get educated in spiritual knowledge, in knowledge that helps me understand life better, that helps me understand my purpose better. And that's like the true education. That's the education I want to get. So I connected with happiness, and also, yeah, let me listen in a way that whatever I hear remains stuck, glued to my consciousness. And that's what Saraswati does. Saraswati, like, she gives the blessings so that we can learn and actually memorize and also realize what we hear. So today her special mercy is with us. It's her appearance day. And I want to speak a little about feminine energy.
Anandini,
Yes.
Can we recite that Saraswati mantra? Because I used to recite it a lot, and I haven't done it for a long time, and I would appreciate to have it refreshed.
I don't have it ready to recite.
Okay.
If you have, we can do that. I'm not prepared for that.
No, unfortunately, I forgot it.
Okay. Okay, but thank you. Yeah, so the feminine energy, it's what I want to speak about it today. And speaking about feminine energy doesn't go without speaking out about masculine energy. And so I want to explore it with you. And I'm very eager at the end to give space for your questions and your realizations and sharings. Yeah, what is the feminine energy? How does it play out? What is the balance? What is the disbalance? What's the power of it? What is the divine form of it? So these are some dimensions I would like to explore. So if we look at our body, or our bodies, they are manifestations of a subtle energy. And so we can see, like, okay, so I was born into a female body, means my subtle body at the time of my last death or was, like in a way that's the perfect way to continue my spiritual journey. The journey of my soul is to be in the body of a female, in the body of a woman. And we have one man here, Sylvain, like based on results, the perfect body for you to continue your journey is the body of a man, a male body. And so there's so many concepts. I grew up with so many concepts about what it means to be in a female body. Like at the age of 12, my two friends at school came one day and said, today is the day of feminism, and there are big strikes in town. Let's go. And so we skipped school and we went to town, and there were these strikes about women energy, freedom for women, and what I got there is the concept of to be a strong woman, to be a powerful woman, means to become like a man. To like acquire and develop qualities and actions and even dress like a man. That was my understanding of being a powerful woman and being strong. And so I developed these qualities in the sense in my mind, going, okay, if I want to be a strong woman, it means I get out into the world and I get a career and I make lots of money. Sylvain, you have a question?
I do, yeah. So when you went to the strike and the demonstrations, you said there was a lot of female energy, but actually what you found is a lot of male energy by women. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, there wasn't female energy. There were a lot of women. And
Yes.
the message I got was, oh, like if we women want to be strong and free, we need to become like men. Yeah. Thank you for asking for clarification. Yeah, so that's how I, went into adulthood with this understanding. To be strong is I compete with men. At one time I worked in a garden center and they were all men, and I thought, okay, I have to be able to do what the men do, and I damaged my body, and I got married, and I was with this concept, to be a strong woman is okay. I get a career, I work, and then I have children. Yes, I have children, and all of it, superwoman, I can do it together. And I realized when I got.
I've got another question.
Yes.
Is it okay for me to interrupt you like this, or would you rather continue?
Yeah, actually, there is time at the end for questions. So if you can take a note of all your questions and ask them at the end. Unless it's like you're not, I'm not clear in my communication and you need clarification for what I'm saying, then you're welcome to interrupt.
Thank you. No, I'm clear with what you're saying.
Okay, thank you. So it worked well for me until I had my first child, and Anuk, she was 3 months old. And I thought, oh yeah, like what does a woman do? A modern woman, she gives birth and then she goes straight back to work. So I went for into a class that the teacher was sick, so I just went there for a day. and it was the class with 15 teenage boys. And the first thing they said to me was, I wanted to get to know them. I said, what are your names and what do you like to do? Who are you? And the first thing I heard was, I'm, whatever his name was, and I'm going to make sure that at the end of the day, you are going to feel really bad about yourself. And so that's the atmosphere I went into, from being in this like bubble with my baby, in a sensitive place, vulnerable place, and I went out to work, and that's what I got. And I realized, wow, somehow my concept doesn't work out. Like it doesn't work for me to be like a sensitive, caring, empathic mother, and then go out and be strong and tough and face these teenage boys who are, ready to finish me. That's what they said. We will finish you. And so I started to understand, wow, I think I need to change my concept of what it means to be in a female body. And I started to research and look into myself, and I started to read books and ask wise women I considered wise. What is your understanding? What is your understanding of the female body? What is it meant for? What is it naturally gifted with? How is this, how can I use this vehicle, this female body vehicle, to continue my journey, live my purpose, and continue to understand who I am? How can I grow into devotion using this vehicle? So in a way that is healthy and strong, and I can thrive. And so my journey started of finding out what is the vehicle. And it's kind of like, what really helped me and still helps me is the analogy of a car. So if I go into, if I live in Switzerland, we have small towns, small villages, and I drive like a huge truck. It's not ideal to go into the small cities. And the other way around, if I live in a city and I have a car that can move around in small roads, and I want to go on a mountain trek with the car, it's not ideal. I'm going to damage the car. And so what I was realizing was that how I used my car, my body, was like taking a city car out into the rough countryside, and it was damaging. So I'm going to make a pause because I want to reconnect with what I wanted to share, and right now it's lost. So that's when I started to research and try and understand what is this vehicle that I got, and what is it meant for, what is it good at, and how is it here to show me and support me in living my purpose. And at the recent seminar in Wales, I traveled there to assist the foundational and the advanced seminar. And as I was in the foundational seminar as an assistant, so behind the arc, we had a group of 17 participants, and 14 participants were men, and the rest, 13 men and 4 women. And so on the first day, for me, it was an opportunity. I thought, okay, I've been exploring a lot about male and female, and my relationship to female body, my relationship to men and male energy. So here's a seminar, a Sattva seminar, it brings opportunities to take a look and to understand better myself and others. And so what I observed was on the first day, there was like so much male energy, and some of the women, they started to feel like, concerned or, somewhat fearful. They withdrew. There was one female participant who was very, very like out there and engaging and, like very exposing her female beauty. And it caused, from my perception, it just caused a lot of like disruption, and things started to come up and defenses. And at the end of day one, we were concerned in the staff room, are the women going to return the next day? And I was clear, like, I want to do something. I want to support the women to feel safe. And so that was my consciousness. And I went to sleep, and I woke up in the morning, day 2 of the seminar. And I had an experience of remembering all the exalted female personalities I had read about, like saints. And I could, in my inner eye, I could see them. Oh, they're here. And I asked, okay, so what can I do to support the women here in the seminar? And the response I got was, show up. Show up. Okay, well, I'm here to staff, not to facilitate. And then, yeah, I said, I got like, okay, yeah, that's how I can support the women in the seminar. And I, went through the day and said, okay, there's 3 processes I'm ready to facilitate. And I will tell David and Scott when we come to the seminar room. And a few minutes later, Scott sent me a message. Scott was the organizer, and he said, Anandini, could you conduct this and this and this process? And it was exactly the same process that I had thought of. And when I saw David at the seminar room, he said, Anandini, could you? And he named the same process. And I said, did you speak to Scott? No, I didn't. So I thought, I took it as, that's my service. Show up, facilitate. And so I got up and facilitated assertiveness. I introduced assertiveness, and it was very interesting for me to observe, because as soon as I started sharing, I got interrupted many times. By men, I got interrupted. One man even asked me to change the gender in my example. And what was beautiful for me was that I think usually in another circumstance, if I hadn't been so clear on my purpose and intention of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, I would have felt irritated. I would have felt irritated, frustrated. Maybe I would have, withdrawn and thought, okay, like, let me just go to the background again. But because I was so clear and I was connected to all these exalted, assertive, powerful women that I have read and heard about, I connected with patience, with tenderness, with empathy, also with clarity. And I was sensing at that moment, like when I got all these interruptions, I suddenly thought, oh, I'm not doing this for the women, I'm doing this for the men here. That maybe like having a powerful woman show up is maybe scary for some, because they've experienced powerful women as dominant and manipulative and, like violent in some ways. So yeah, it was a special and impactful experience for me. And after we finished the process, all the 4 women in the room came up and hugged me and said, thank you And many men also came up to me and said, thank you for showing up. And like there was a rearrangement of balance in the seminar room that I sensed, where like okay, so here's a male facilitator and here's a female facilitator, and they're both like caring and empathic and clear and assertive, and they're endeavoring to be in their power, and that's safe. So I got a lot of encouragement and inspiration from that experience about, there's so much power struggle between the genders, male and female. And there's so much power struggle and survival and hurt happening, and fear, and it doesn't need to be there. It doesn't need to be there. Like by by me, like, okay, like so another thing for me that changed in the seminar is that I had noticed that I play this power struggle with the male gender, the male energy. I go into a power struggle as a defense and out of fear. And I was in the place of blaming the men. Like, they should be different. If they were different, I could be different too. And I got in this situation, and then later on I participated in the advanced seminar. I got, wow, no, this blame game, it doesn't really work out. It's not going to change anything. Actually, by me being in this blaming place towards men, I cause a lot of harm, and it's not respectful. So how can I take responsibility? What is my part? And then it became like a really interesting, and still is an interesting exploration. I would like to mention a few of these women that appeared in my consciousness at that morning, and one of them was Draupadi. And Draupadi, she's actually the wife of Arjuna the warrior, who's asking all the questions, expressing his doubts to Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Draupadi is his wife, and she's not just his wife, she's also the wife of his 4 brothers. So we have an example here of if we hear of marriage like with more than one partner, it's usually there's one man and he has many wives, or more wives. Here's a wife, a woman, Draupadi, she has 5 husbands. And it's a funny story how this happened. But anyway, Draupadi, she's like this super soft-hearted woman with like embodying all the qualities that are described here in the text, like fame, fortune, speech, memory, intelligence, faithfulness, and patience. She has all these qualities, and she's like 100% devoted and committed to her husbands. And there is one instance, and it happened just before the battle, that the enemies, I'll call them the enemies of Arjuna and the Pandava, the family, they wanted to they were in an assembly. Okay, how do I summarize it? So before the battle started, there was a lot of endeavors to create peace, to bring the country back to the king who was meant to rule the kingdom, and who was also pious and able to rule in a way that every living entity in the country is taken care of, and that everyone's protected. And he was like, someone else was holding the throne, the tyrant, and he wanted to do everything to just disgrace the righteous king and his family and also his wife. And so Draupadi, the wife of Arjuna, she was brought into an assembly of men who were like gambling and drinking, and they wanted to disgrace her. They tried, they wanted to take away her sari, her dress, and they did. And Draupadi, she was like inferior due to her physical strength. She was inferior, and yet she was like fully in her power and assertive, and she addressed all the men in a way that she didn't disgrace them. She was fully respectful and appealing to their integrity. Like, what are you trying to do? Like, look, you're wanting to undress a woman in an assembly full of men. How can you do that to yourself? In a sense, that's what she said. And there was no way they would stop, and so they tried to undress her. And she was, she didn't, she had used all she knew that she could do to protect herself, and no one was protecting her. And so what she did is she started to pray to Krishna, and she prayed to him and prayed for protection. And there was nothing happening. Nothing was coming. Like, they continued to take away her dress. And at one point, she just completely surrendered, and she lifted her arms and she said, okay, whatever is meant to happen, Krishna, I trust you. And at this moment, Krishna gave a lot of material, so that the sari they were trying to take off, it was just endless. There was more cloth coming and so she's one of these personalities, like representing a woman fully in her power, fully respectful to men, even though they are about to disgrace her, and fully surrendered and trusting in Krishna that he will protect her. And he did. And he did. Yeah, there's other women that came to my awareness, and one of them is Mary of Magdalene. Mary of Magdalene, she's the first female disciple of Lord Jesus, and she lived her life as a prostitute. That's how she grew up, selling her body, and that was her understanding, her understanding of purpose, and also her understanding of giving and receiving love, is selling her body. And then she met Lord Jesus Christ, and she experienced a transformation, and she realized that, actually, love that is based simply on the body is not love. It's like it's an exchange of it's an exchange. No, it's not even an exchange. It's just like she's selling herself. She's giving herself simply to fulfill the desire of the man, and it wasn't even fulfilling their desire, maybe for a short term, but not like the desire everyone's really looking for the unconditional love. And so she experienced that transformation, and she committed to living a life of integrity and a life of service, serving a higher purpose in a very devotional, surrendered, elevated way. And there's others. I will not go into that right now. There's so many amazing, for me, amazing role models of women who embody and give an example of what it means to be powerful in the female body. Yeah, what I experienced on this second day was like a balance coming into the seminar room amongst the participants, and it continued to be a theme throughout the seminars of what it could look like if when men are on contract and women are on contract, and how the relationship can be, and how there's a perfect protection of each other and supportive of each other to concentrate and focus on self-realization, to focus on understanding who we are as spirit souls having a human experience. And we can actually take the whole male-female conversation out of the gender and look at it as energies. There's male energy and there's female energy. And within ourselves, we have energies that are more masculine, and we have energies that are more feminine. And we can do like a short interactive, not an exercise, but if you think of, okay, let's think of female energies that are balanced, like a female energy or a female quality. What comes to your mind? Yes, Silva?
I was actually saying hello to Amanda, who just showed up. I'm sure I could find a female quality. Gracefulness in movement.
Gracefulness in movement, yeah. Any other female qualities?
Abundance and nurturing.
Abundance.
Beauty.
Warmth.
Nurture, warmth, beauty. Maybe softness, tenderness. We could call them feminine energies that both men and women have within. And let's look at male energies, like balanced, strong male energies within ourselves. What comes to your mind?
Clarity.
Direction.
Clarity, direction.
Strength.
Power.
Strength, power. Yeah, like structure or discipline. Like healthy discipline. I'll switch off my mobile phone on time at night. Healthy discipline. Yeah. Also maybe steadiness. Steadiness is a male quality. Protection. Okay, so let's look at some female qualities that are out of balance.
Controlling.
Manipulating.
I would call that a male energy that is out of balance.
Yeah.
Being all over the place.
Yeah, like
I'm not sure how to express that in a different way.
Well, maybe what I was thinking of is
Scattered.
Yes, scattered and kind of swimming in the emotions. like the emotions just take over, and I'm here and I'm there and I'm everywhere, and yeah, that's female energy out of balance. And with that,
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know how to say that. Like, the controlling, it can be like if the nurturing goes out of balance, it's kind of like taking responsibility for things I'm not responsible for.
Yeah, so in that sense, controlling. I think I'm responsible for everything, and I need to make sure everyone is doing what I think they should be doing.
Mothering, that is.
Mothering.
Is it? No, smothering with an S.
Smothering.
Mothering with an S.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Okay, so what about a masculine energies out of balance?
Violence.
Violence.
Abuse.
Abuse.
Overpower.
Overpowering. Yeah. Yeah. So we can see, like, these are all, I mean, I can see all of these things in myself. And for me, that's a way to come to a place of responsibility, to look inside myself. How am I dealing with the male or feminine and masculine energies, and how balanced are they within myself? And by observing that, and by responding consciously, I can create a balance within myself, and that balance will also like reflect out into my relationships with women and also with men. When I start my day and I'm too much I'm imbalanced in my feminine energy, then I can just like do this and that. I can get totally lost and not achieve anything. And then if I'm too strong in my male energy, I might be like achieving one thing after the other, or wanting a result for everything. And knowing that, and then looking at, what is the body what is my body? What is the vehicle I have? I can create balance, and I can create health. And in a sense, I was contemplating on, the relationships out there. So gender, male, female. It's a reflection. It's a reflection of my inner balance or relationship with feminine and masculine energy, and having a healthy balance. I can bring that to my relationships and create healthy balance in my relating to men, also to women, and the other way around. Like if there's men and women conscious and clear on the purpose of why we're here together. We're all here together to support each other in self-realization, understanding this world here and our bodies and how they work, and also understanding like the spiritual aspect. Who am I as a soul? What is the desire of my soul? What is the natural expression of my soul? That can be very supportive, and it's a protection for both of us. Yeah, so that was my contemplation or journey around feminine, and then looking at, so how come are there men and women? Why are there not just women or just men? Why this gender thing? Why feminine and masculine? And what we get in Bhagavad Gita, not so much in Bhagavad Gita, and also not so much in Srimad Bhagavatam, but in other scriptures of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we get an understanding that the origin, or what is presented to us, the perspective is that the origin of everything is male and female. Like the origin, the source of everything, as divine, as God, is not a man. It's like it's a man and a woman. And so in our tradition, we have Radha and Krishna as the origin of everything. Radha and Krishna, like the feminine divine personified, and the masculine divine personified. And that the combination of both, the relationship between both, that's the supreme, that's God, and that's love. And in many scriptures, and even in Bhagavad Gita, Radharani, the female aspect of the source, is hidden. We don't hear about her. There's nothing about her. Like we do hear that the energy or the energy of the material world, it's the female energy. It's described as Prakriti. It's the female energy, and Krishna is the seed-giving father of everything, of all life. And we also hear that all the spirit souls are essentially female, but we don't hear anything about the female source. And that's what I grew up with. I grew up with the Bible, and there's no mentioning of a female aspect of God or aspect of the divine. And in many traditions, it's not there. And if we go and look closer, we can find, like in the biblical tradition, there's Sophia or Mother Mary. And if we dive deeper into the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, we come to Srimati Radharani as the feminine divine. And it's described actually that it's the most powerful force in the universe, in the entire universe. Spiritual material is the energy, is the potency of Srimati Radharani. So it's a female unconditional love. It's a female divine female energy, and that's what we're all looking for. And that, something for me, something I don't have realization about yet, it's something I meditate on, is that as spirit souls, we're all female. That's how it's described. We're all female. We're all meant to be giving pleasure to Krishna. And Krishna gets pleasure through us. Hello, Valeri. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Rukmini.
Hare Bol.
So I'm just coming to the end, reflecting on the source of everything, why there is female and male, because the source is male and female. It's Krishna, the all-attractive one, and Srimati Radharani is the pleasure-giving potency. It's that which gives pleasure. And then in my preparation for today, I came to the Maha Mantra. The Maha Mantra, which is 3 names of the divine, Hare, Krishna, and Rama. And Krishna is the original male source personality. And then Hare is the female original person. And so by chanting the Maha Mantra, we connect and swim in the ocean, in the vibration of the male and female divine energies. And it's so powerful. It's so effective in my experience. And I like to chant while listening Srila Prabhupada chanting. And so he's also like this self-realized, exalted personality who embodies, like in himself, has a perfect balance of all the female and the male energies. And so associating there, I experience as soothing and inspiring and encouraging to for myself to also create this balance in myself between male and female energies, and also like fully inhabit in body this female body I'm in, and like use the natural tendencies, or what this body is like natural at, to like be out there in the world and serve out there in the world and support. Yeah, so I'm going to stop here. Maybe I'll share more, but I'm really curious to hear from you. What is happening for you when you're listening, questions you have, realizations, or maybe there's something you don't agree with at all that I expressed. I'm curious to hear from you.
Hi, Krishna. Thank you so much, Anandini. I really appreciated hearing everyone sharing the qualities of the male energy and the female energy, and also your powerful showing up for the ladies at the foundational course. And something that was happening for me is that I had expressed to dear Govinda maybe a couple of months ago that I was noticing a lot more males in attendance for some of the programs I was attending. And I was feeling uncomfortable as sometimes being the only woman showing up for those programs. And of course, he reflected and he was very kind. But I'm now realizing that I had an opportunity to show up. Instead of blaming him for like, why are there only men coming to your programs? so so yeah, so so you're giving me encouragement to just show up, and no matter who the bodies are that show up for the programs that are in our spiritual community. And so thank you for that balance that reset my brain, and I'm feeling it. I'm appreciating just showing up and participating fully.
Thank you. Thank you, Anasuya. Yeah, like you were experiencing some maybe intimidation, irritation, like discomfort of, oh, so there are all these men here and I'm the only woman. So, and you went maybe towards some blame towards David. It's because of him. And hearing me, you're connecting with, no, there's value. There's value in you being there. It's an opportunity to bring the maybe more of the female energy into the association, and it's an opportunity to show up, and it's an opportunity to not hide behind gender judgments. And meet everyone as a spirit soul having a human experience, either male body or female body, but it's a spirit soul. It's someone to meet with an open heart and associate with and learn from and give and receive.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Haribo.
Thank you, Anasuya. Rosa. You're muted.
Thank you so much for having this. I feel like it was definitely timely for me. And as far as what goes on for me, I could take a whole nother hour of everyone's time to talk about that. So I'm going to try to make it concise. I'm in the Bhagavad Gita course, and recently reading chapter 1, text 40, I found myself disturbed.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is why it's timely for me. My experience with some of the things that you were relating, I can relate with Anasuya and what she said, very much appreciating how just showing up and our ability in doing that and how it can be transformative for others is very powerful. But I can also very much relate with what you said your experience was when you were younger. For me, I was raised alone by a man. And I was taught, I suppose, a lot of manly energy qualities, right? to be productive and to do a lot of manual labor and to use myself in these ways. So my experience in life is I'm exhausted. I'm
Yeah.
always exerting myself, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how you grew up, I get that's very tender for you and emotional. Like growing up, you took on a lot of like male energies and qualities, and it shows in your behavior. And you're noticing like after many years that it just like it's exhausting for your body. Your body is not made to do and achieve all these things.
Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally. And the emotion that I'm showing now comes from like I'm experiencing a lot with the disturbance that I've had here and like the realization of things that I haven't gone back to look at. That this is making me realize and see the things about my relationship with myself in a female body. And a lot of it is that need or conditioned. I was conditioned in how to show up and my relationship with like semblance of control and all of these things, right?
Hmm. Yeah, so like studying Bhagavad Gita, you're faced with information that's disturbing and unsettling, and at the same time, like giving you an opportunity to take a look. How are you? What is your relationship with your female body? Not just the physical body, the gross physical body, but also the female nature, like the nature of your emotion, the nature of your intelligence, and the nature of your mind. And you can see that the way you were raised, what you took on, is violence. It's very rough for your nature. Yeah.
So speaking of that nature, it was similar to what you described earlier. I don't know. I've always believed like if something was broken, I had to fix it. If something was wrong, it was my responsibility. So a lot of that like semblance of control stuff, and coming into trying to find equanimity is surrender and grace and believing that I will be provided for, nurtured, and taken care of.
Mm.
So when you told that story of Draupadi and the cloth that continued to come, like I started to cry, but I don't really understand where these tears come from yet. I
Mm.
just know it's very emotional.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of deep feelings coming up for you that it's not quite clear where they come from, and yet it's related to like Draupadi's surrender and her like complete devotion and trust in Krishna's protection.
Yeah.
Like it speaks to something in you that's maybe also yearning for this protection, to be protected in this world and safe and cared for, cherished.
And I know there's something in me a lot more to learn because at the same time that I experience that yearning, I also experience like anger and frustration of like, no, that doesn't happen, right? Like we
Yeah.
can't expect to be taken care of in that way. And that's the other side of me. That's like the conditioning of no, 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 you don't do that. That's not what we do.
Yeah, yeah. So you're noticing that battle inside you between what's coming up from your heart and your experience, and then what's coming from your mind, all that you've taken on, all the concepts, and yeah. So it's both there, and
So thank you so much for this, and I look forward to the further discussion, and I would love to develop on this concept more because I need it.
thank you, Rosa. I'm moved by your sharing, and I know that the verse you mentioned in chapter 1, verse 40, it's disturbing for many. And it has been disturbing for me for a long time. It's no longer disturbing for me. And yet it was a process to come to understand, wow, what is my role in society as a woman? And what is the responsibility I have to protect myself and also to protect men, and then to protect society, so that everyone can be welcomed and loved and supported and protected. Thank you, Rosa.
Thank you, Rosa. I would like to share as a male representative here.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad I'm here. I'm a bit confused. I'm confused, you know, hearing from you and knowing of this social disease. And I'm sort of oblivious most of the time. I just go around and I just continue because I don't. I mean, men are scared of men. This is a fact. Actually, men are scared of women as well. I don't suffer so much from those fears, and I also don't. I'm not always aware that these fears, also for women being afraid of men, I don't go around with that consciousness. And maybe partly I don't want it. I'm so disappointed actually in life that it is the case that we're all scared of each other. And in a way I also have a request, and my request is, it's not for you individually, it's just a request to the feminine, actually, in anyone, in men as well, but and also in women. And my request is like you were saying, Anandini, to show up as a as a as a sensitive woman. And I understand the strength that requires, the courage that it requires to do that. But I sense that it would help me connect with that sensitivity, and that, because actually I'm going around treating women who are showing up strong to protect themselves, and therefore I can't touch on the gentleness that is required to deal with that vulnerability. That is not to take my responsibility away. I'm making this request to just to get your support in me showing up for women and for the feminine. That's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Silva, for expressing. Yeah, like you're not in everyday life, you're not so aware of what is happening between men and women, and the fear. When you are aware there is fear between anyone, really, men, regardless of the gender. And yet looking at gender, like I get that you're really like appreciating sensitivity, a vulnerability, sensitivity. And when you see someone or like a woman being very sensitive, it's supporting you to also connect with that female quality within yourself. Yeah, thank you for making that request. And I see, and I also hear, it's not you're not giving away responsibility. Like, okay, I can only be sensitive if you are. And I think that was one of my big takeaways from the seminar experience, like the whole as facilitator, staff, and participant, whatever, all the roles I had, of like that's my responsibility as a woman in a female body, for myself to connect and commit to my sensitivity. And because when I see someone really sensitive, what do I want to do? I want to protect them. I want them to feel precious and cherished and loved and cared for. So that's what we can do. And I think it also goes for men. When I see like a man being very like sensitive and vulnerable, I want to protect them. And what I can do to protect them is, I can connect with empathy and with respect, and I can come out of my blaming the man game and see them as spirit souls having a male experience.
One little thing I'd like to add in response is that we men, I move a lot around men in men doing men's work, and men are suffering a lot from not being in touch with their feminine as well. It makes us really hard and coarse and disconnected.
Thank you for sharing that. I recently I was with a coaching client in a man in a spirit soul in a male body, and he was sharing about how he's seeing intuition as a female quality. So intuition is what women have, and all his life he would just completely give away responsibility for all his life choices to the partners he had, that they would take choices for him, and he ended up feeling so disconnected and like ill, sick, and allowing himself to be manipulated by women who were not like using their intuition in a truly divine feminine way, who were like manipulating. So like to by living what I'm getting, Sylvain, from you, is by like really embodying the female body, and connecting with these female qualities, which are easier for women to connect with, just as masculine qualities. It's easier for a man to connect with masculine qualities because the whole body is set up to support the masculine expression. So for women to connect with this and embrace the female qualities, it will help men to also connect with balanced, healthy female qualities, and it will help them to be more gentle and tender towards themselves and others.
Thank you, Nandini.
Thank you. As the representative of the male gender here. Any other comments, realizations, questions?
Yeah, Oh, you want to go first, Rosa?
No, I can wait. Thank you.
What came up for me through your sharing and also Sylvan's sharing is that it really seems to be intertwined, as we, no matter if we're in a woman's body or male body, we have both energies are there, and we can at any time we can choose to connect to those qualities, male and female qualities, and express them, embody them. And you shared how when you stepped up, when you showed up, Anandini, in the course, that first you thought you're stepping up for the women, and then you saw like, no, actually it's doing much more with the men. And so for me, I experienced also in the seminar how deeply healing it was to be in this room with all these men. I imagine that it was much more of a healing experience and kind of like an integrative experience than if I would just spend a week with women and it would just be like a women's gathering and we're doing all the healing work and we're doing in women's circle. It's powerful. Of course, it's powerful to share with other women, but then I found it like truly valuable to have that exchange between men and women, and to have like really this understanding that they belong together. It's not something that can be separated. It cannot be healed separately. It's something that it's inseparable, and that's how beautifully it is displayed already in the divine. You know how Radha and Krishna are one, but they are coming in these two different forms, having that dance and play, and interchange of those different qualities and energies. Yeah, but their wish is always to be together, because if they're separated, it's not the whole full experience that is possible. So this is what I'm taking away from this sharing.
Thank you, Amanda. Yeah, like you're seeing the perfect arrangement in the existence of feminine and masculine, man and woman. And for you in the seminar, it was part of the process and part of the healing to be together with men in this like sacred and intimate space, and seeing how we can support each other. Like if we move beyond the simple bodily concept, then there's so much, like healing and mutual support. Thank you. Yeah, that was my experience too. Rosa, you wanted to share something.
Thank you for that most recent sharing. That expanded what I was already thinking and feeling, which was when I read that text in the Bhagavad Gita, I expressed to my classmates, I wish there was a long form that explained what being a woman within this philosophy meant, in the same way that the Bhagavad Gita is a long form talking about the battle and how it relates to all of existence, right? But the realization I have is that, like, I mean, it's all within the same philosophy. It's not separate, right? I'm experiencing it from reading the Bhagavad Gita, and in like she had just said, it's not just for women, but if we can have experiential learning around these philosophies together, it just deepens the community and the understanding and how we can relate to each other and all of it.
Yeah. And there's so much, we bring so much concepts with us that sometimes it can be really hard to understand what's the message here. And like the verse you're referring to, which says that, if women become corrupt, then society becomes corrupt. I think that's the verse you're referring to. And you can, from I know from my conditioning, it's like women, it's your fault, you're to blame. And that's not the message how I understand it today. Like the message is actually, hey, as a woman, like the women, they have like a very important, just as men have a very important role, women also have a very important role. And women are like naturally gifted to protect like the inner world, let's say, the inner world, like the soft qualities like that are needed for example, to raise children, like the empathy, the sensitivity, the tenderness, the gentleness, the soft-heartedness. That's such an important part of society. And if women like disconnect from these qualities, that's it's the word corrupted is used, but that's my understanding. It's becoming disconnected from these like very important, essential, soft qualities, and then just playing out externally, and that's going to affect the whole society. Like,
I hear you that it can commonly be misunderstood to be maybe a degrading situation towards women, but actually your interpretation is that it raises awareness for the importance of women within the culture.
Yeah, and also the women to be in their integrity, that the women like fully live according to their innermost values, and that they are protected. And by women, like that's what I see, that what I can do, like when Sylvain says, like being tender and sensitive, yeah, like that's for me, that's part of integrity. And by claiming these qualities, living these qualities, naturally that invokes protection. And that's where men are naturally strong at, like out there in the world, protecting the values outside, and women protecting inside, and both is really important. It's like women are the back, you could say women are the backbone of society. And that's a very important role. And men are here to as the protection. And then again, within ourselves, we can develop all these qualities, that we like fiercely protect the tender, like devotional part of ourselves.
Thank you for sharing. I'm going to give consideration to all of this today.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for being here and for allowing it all to move your heart and to share it with us.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for giving this class on Anandini. I'm so interested in this topic, and I didn't have the link, and so I joined late, but I'd like to see the recording. But what I'm thankful to be here in this discussion. And something that you said that really stood out to me, you said to be committed to my sensitivity, to be committed to showing up to my sensitivity. And then my question was like, well, what does that look like? And how I see that looking like is being empathetic, like being willing to go to those tender places in myself, to those deeper emotions in myself, to connect with that other person that's in those same emotions. And I see how I've experienced so much pain and trauma in my life, and I can see how I just like guard myself up, or like numb myself, or I'll protect myself. And sometimes I'm just like, just can't connect to that other person's emotions. Like it's like, it feels so far away sometimes. And so I feel really moved by that. Sometimes I think it doesn't feel very safe for me to be vulnerable and to go into that sensitivity. And so I'm also wondering, like, is there a specific time and place and container where it's not appropriate to be vulnerable and sensitive? Yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Thank you, Valerie, for sharing. Yeah, like you. So what I'm understanding from you is the sensitive part in you. It's so easily covered, like by defense and protection, and because it seems like dangerous to be in this sensitive place. It's the place where you get hurt. And so you're looking at, where is a place to be sensitive, and where is a place to maybe not be sensitive? Where is the protection? Is that your question?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you for this. I'm in exploration of this question myself, and I'm also happy to hear from others here. But what I'm discovering is that I actually want to arrange my life so that I can be in this sensitive place at all times. That's my meditation right now. How can I surround myself with people, with an environment? What activities do I engage with or not engage with? What sounds do I associate with or not? What tastes, like all the sense inputs. Yeah, how can I arrange my life so that I can be sensitive at all times? Because really that's where I want to be. I see, like, when I'm with others, when I'm with my kids or my coaching clients or friends, or like when I'm connected to this high awareness, this sensitivity, then I can catch immediately when I go to defense, or I can understand, I can empathize with the pain others are experiencing at a much deeper level. And with my children, I can I can experience where they go into disconnect or survival, and I can offer them some guidance and some protection. So that's where I'm at with this question.
I'd like to
hear others. Yes.
Thank you, Valerie, for the question. I find it really interesting. Thank you, Anandini, for your feminine response to it, organizing your life around in a way that you can be vulnerable at all times. And my take is that it is my journey, and the ultimate is that I am vulnerable all the time. So similar to what Nandini said. But it's not that simple. And my work is to develop inner strength so that even if I am in a concentration camp, I can remain vulnerable. Because my inner core is so strong, and not strong macho strong, but strong with faith and understanding, that knowing that actually nothing wrong can happen. Pain may happen, but giving myself fully to life means that I don't shut my heart down. And like I said, this is, for me, that's a journey, and I can't just do that now, because if I'm vulnerable in places that are harsh and I'm not prepared, then I will be set back and hurt and more trauma to work through. So it's during the journey, it's a continual balancing act between being safe enough to be vulnerable and knowing when to protect myself.
Thank you for sharing your journey with vulnerability. And like vulnerability, that's where you're aiming at, to be vulnerable and meeting everyone with an open heart, even the soldiers in the concentration camp. And yet you're like careful or attentive to meet yourself where you're at, and to see, like, when like if you haven't developed that strength yet, that inner strength of, like, as a being, as a spirit soul, as a creature of life, you're safe, nothing can happen to you. And as long as you haven't, like, developed that full faith and realization, like, you also want to protect yourself from harm. Thank you.
How was that for you, Valerie?
I'm really appreciating both of your responses of like rearranging my life so I can be sensitive. I love that idea and that meditation, and even just meditating on what is sensitivity. What is that? What is that to me? And then I appreciate what you shared too, Sylvan, like that there is a time and to be protective of myself too. And it's a balance of being sensitive and being protective, and that also what I was hearing from you is that it kind of requires this inner safety to be vulnerable. And I think that's kind of where my work lies, is to create that inner safety and cultivate more faith and knowing that I am safe to be vulnerable and sensitive. So thank you.
Thank you, Valerie, for sharing your realizations on our sharings. It's very enriching, encouraging, inspiring for me. Are there any, like, is any other? Rukmini, you wrote something in the chat. In my vulnerability, my safety lies. Thank you. Our vulnerability is our protection. Anything else? Questions, sharings? Okay, I will read the verse again. From chapter 10, text 34. I am all devouring death, and I am the generator of all things yet to be. Among women I am fame, fortune, speech, memory, intelligence, faithfulness, and patience. There's many other aspects that we could dive into, also from the purport that death is Krishna and birth is Krishna, and we're not going to go there today. I appreciated very much your association and your sharings, and I'm glad to continue the conversation, and I wish you a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
I look forward to the recording, and then maybe we can expand on it on Facebook or something like that, because there's a lot more to touch on.
Yes. If it's on Facebook, I won't be part of it, but in other rooms, yes.
Yeah, I don't know how, but somehow to express what I have, whoever reads it, that's fine. Yeah.
I don't know if you plan on having other sessions on the Divine Feminine, but I would love to hear about the other personalities. Like it looked like you had a list and you said, this isn't for right now. I would love to hear that.
Okay. I take it as an invitation to give more classes on it.
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Jai Shri Radhe.